Sarah Jo Pender, born on May 29, 1979, is an American woman convicted, along with her former boyfriend, Richard Edward Hull, for the deaths of their roommates, Andrew Cataldi and Tricia Nordman, on October 24, 2000, in Indiana. Despite her conviction, Pender maintains her innocence, asserting that she is a victim of wrongful accusations. She gained attention in August 2008 when she escaped from the Rockville Correctional Facility, appearing on America's Most Wanted, but was later recaptured in December in Chicago. In 1997, Pender graduated from Lawrence Central High School and briefly attended Purdue University before leaving. She worked as a secretary at Carl E. Most & Sons, while her boyfriend, Hull, was a bouncer with a history of criminal convictions. Tensions between Pender, Hull, and their roommates escalated over 3 weeks with frequent arguments. Unable to legally acquire firearms due to his criminal record, Hull convinced Pender to purchase a 12-gauge shotgun at Walmart on the morning of October 24, 2000. Later that day, a confrontation occurred between Hull and Cataldi over money owed by Hull's sister, resulting in a physical struggle where Hull unlived Cataldi and Nordman. Returning to find the victims deceased, Pender discovered Hull had placed one body in a borrowed truck. The bodies were later disposed of in a dumpster a few blocks away. Pender continued with her routine, while Hull borrowed cleaning equipment to sanitize the crime scene. They returned the truck, burned blood-stained items, and tried to conceal the murders. Hull confessed on October 27, 2000, and Pender provided bloodstained pants. During Pender's trial in July 2002, prosecutor Larry Sells highlighted her role in buying the murder weapon and assisting in disposing of the bodies. Sells depicted Pender as a manipulator who planned the murders. The prosecution relied on a letter allegedly written by Pender in May 2001, where she claimed responsibility. Inmate Floyd Pennington testified that Pender admitted guilt during a meeting in September 2001. On August 22, 2002, Pender was found guilty and sentenced to 110 years, while Hull pleaded guilty, receiving 2 45-year sentences, citing Pender's influence as a mitigating factor during the murders. Pender escaped from Rockville Correctional Center, a maximum security prison 50 miles, 80 kilometers west of Indianapolis, on August 4, 2008, with the aid of prison guard Scott Spittler Sr. and former cellmate Jamie Long. At the time of Pender's evasion, Scott Spittler had been a corrections officer at Rockville Correctional Facility for 5 years. The previous month, he had been placed in a pretrial diversion program for a misdemeanor charge of battery. Although he was married with children, he was also engaged in an ongoing relationship with Pender behind bars. Pender reportedly planned her escape with a cell phone provided to her by prison guard Spittler. Pender and Spittler had agreed that he would be paid $15,000 to help her escape. On August 4, 2008, Pender went to the facility's gymnasium, where she changed clothes, hiding her prison uniform above the ceiling tiles, and putting on civilian clothes Spittler had given to her. She then walked toward the fueling area where they had agreed to meet. Spittler told her to get in the van and hide under the seat. He then drove to the prison's gate where he knew from experience that the guard would not search his vehicle. Spittler dropped off Pender at one of the facility's parking lots, where Jamie Long picked her up, gave her $140, and drove her to Indianapolis. An inmate count revealed that Pender was missing, and the prison was immediately put on maximum security lockdown. After viewing video surveillance tapes and consulting the guard shack log, investigators identified Spittler as Pender's accomplice. He was arrested on August 5, 2008, and charged with assisting a criminal, official misconduct, sexual misconduct, and trafficking with an inmate. In February 2009, he was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Jamie Long was arrested on August 7, 2008, after Spittler told investigators that she was the person who had picked up Pender. She was charged with aiding an escape, a Class C felony, and sentenced to 7 years in prison. In September 2008, the TV show America's Most Wanted ran a feature on Pender. In October 2008, Pender was added to the U.S. Marshal's 15 Most Wanted Fugitives list. She was the only woman on the list at the time. In the meantime, Pender had settled in a North Side Chicago neighborhood where she went under the name Ashley Thompson. She found a job as an estimator for a contractor. On December 22, 2008, 2 hours after a rerun of the America's Most Wanted episode, her neighbor identified her and called the Chicago police, who arrested her at her apartment. Although she denied being Sarah Pender, she did not resist arrest. Pender was held in solitary confinement at the Indiana Women's Prison in Indianapolis from December 2008 to January 30, 2014, for a total of 1,870 days, slightly over 5 years. She will be eligible for parole on April 4, 2054, at age 75. On January 25, 2018, Pender was transferred back to Rockville Correctional Facility. Jamie Long was an older married woman. She had a criminal history of 2 felonies and 12 to 15 other convictions. Pender and Long met in 2007 while inmates at the Marion County Jail. They formed an intimate relationship, and Long referred to Pender as her wife while they served time at the Indiana Women's Prison in Indianapolis. After being released, Long frequently visited Pender. In April 2007, Pender submitted a petition for a writ of habeas corpus. On September 5, 2008, in a closing judgment, her petition was dismissed. She later wrote, "Once my appeals were exhausted, I had no hope left, and I chose to create my justice. I served the equivalent of 21 years of my sentence, and I felt that was enough. I escaped because I felt justified in doing so." In October 2013, Pender's lawyer filed a request for a new trial. The request was based on Pennington's snitch list, as well as a newly discovered second snitch list by Pennington, and the testimony from a forensic linguist. On February 17, 2014, the Indiana Court of Appeals denied the request, explaining that the petitioner has failed to establish a reasonable possibility that he is entitled to post-conviction relief. Controversy arose when information surfaced that a judge sitting on the reviewing panel was Cale J. Bradford. Bradford had been judge during both of Richard Hull's 2000 and 2005 appeals, raising questions about the court's impartiality in reviewing Pender's request. During the summer of 2016, Pender's lawyer filed a motion with the Marion County Prosecutor's Office, requesting a deal that would free Sarah Pender. If granted, Pender would plead guilty to a Class C felony of assisting a criminal, which carries a maximum prison sentence of 8 years. The request was based on the new evidence that had surfaced, such as Floyd Pennington's snitch list. However, the Marion County prosecutor refused to sign off on a reduced sentence. Citing the new evidence, he explained that if she believes this information justifies a new trial, then their remedy is to file a new post-conviction relief petition. During the summer of 2016, Pender's lawyer filed a motion with the Marion County Prosecutor's Office, requesting a deal that would free Sarah Pender. If granted, Pender would plead guilty to a Class C felony of assisting a criminal, which carries a maximum prison sentence of 8 years. The request was based on the new evidence that had surfaced, such as Floyd Pennington's snitch list. However, the Marion County prosecutor refused to sign off on a reduced sentence. Citing the new evidence, he explained that if she believes this information justifies a new trial, then their remedy is to file a new post-conviction relief petition. In 2002, during her trial, Marion County Deputy Prosecutor likened Pender to a female Charles Manson to describe her alleged influence over Hull. This comparison was relayed by the media on several occasions, and it has regularly resurfaced since in the online media. Supporters of Pender claim the comparison is inappropriate because Pender did not plan, commit, or pressure Hull into murdering Nordman and Cataldi. They claim that even if Pender had been involved in planning the murders, the comparison would still be grossly exaggerated. Charles Manson was a guru with a juvenile offender record and a psychiatric history, who led several members of his sect to commit several murders on several occasions over several months. In 2009, and during his trial, Spitler explained that he had been manipulated by Pender. At the time of the escape, the Indiana Department of Correction commissioner told the media that Pender had manipulated him to the point where he had planned his day to get a vehicle inside the facility and take her outside the facility. Detectives said that she had first seduced and then coerced Spitler into helping her to escape. Interviewed by America's Most Wanted, Sell said concerning Pender that lurking within is a dark evil demon. She can seduce people into committing atrocious acts. She has a Charles Manson-like ability to manipulate people. The America's Most Wanted website made a particularly dramatic depiction of Pender, labeling her a cunning and dangerous fugitive and asking viewers to call before she has the opportunity to kill again. It said that Pender used her body to get what she desired most, freedom. The show also talked about her manipulative ways. In a controversial book about Pender, journalist Steve Miller also compared her to an evil, supernatural being and wrote, "Vampires, as the lore has it, exist on the essence of others. Sarah Pender was a vampire in the emotional and mental sense. Thanks for watching and let me know what you think about this story. Leave your comment below and take care. Click that like button on the notification bell if you like the video.